felt compelled for some reason. So, guys, as we said before in my talks with Frank and other talks, evil sows the seeds of its own destruction. Dr. Mousy is on the run. He's on the run. Not only him. These people are narcissists of the highest order. There's Dr. Scott Gottlieb, who was basically their mouthpiece, in the media and everywhere. He used to go on ABC News, all these different channels. And, Alex Berenson on Twitter released some information. He released emails that this guy was sending to Twitter. Executives basically saying, to harpoon a guy, another doctor who wasn't even anti-you-know-what. He was just saying that there's issues giving it to kids. And there's immunity, natural immunity, but he wasn't anti. He's like, let people who want to take it, but people who already got the stuff, they have natural immunity and they have CT cells, they have other things. Okay, so fine. You can only stream and drive it if Hashem is watching over you. Listen, man, I'm looking at the road, I'm going to tell you. So, this Gottlieb messaged the Twitter execs to basically harpoon this doctor. Alex Berenson recently released, screenshots of the email. And of course, people started, threatening this Gottlieb guy. So what does Gottlieb do? He goes on TV and on Twitter. He doesn't deny what's in the email. He doesn't deny anything. He just says, I'm being threatened. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the equivalent of Goebbels going on TV and into the media and saying, those guys in the Warsaw Ghetto, they're really violent. They're really violent. We let them live, in their crappy conditions, but they're really violent people. They're threatening to kill me for torturing them, for being the propaganda guy who is involved in basically their murder, and riling up society against them. Those guys, they're really violent, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get me wrong. Again, we're not in camps. This isn't Chas v'Shalom Destroa. I mean, it's a different type of what. It's slow and it's silent. It's not. No one is sending us to cattle cars. No one's sending us into showers. They did tell us that everything's going to be fine and get us to take something we didn't want to take by offering us, French fries and pizza. Let's not get into that. But the point is, this freaking Goebbels, is getting upset that the Warsaw Ghetto is coming after him and threatening violence on him, as they should, ladies and gentlemen, as they should, because he's a Goebbels. And unfortunately, guys, as I said, I predicted this, and people, my friend Frank tells me that I'm pulling what's called a Farrakhan. I'm Farrakhaning more people. Guys, there's Jews and then there's Erev Rav. This guy is in the category of Erev Rav, this Gottlieb guy. But what is going to happen? Ladies and gentlemen, they're going to blame us. They're going to blame us. They're going to blame anybody with a Jewish last name. Doesn't matter if it's a Jew, a Jew or an Erev Rav. They're going to blame anybody with the Jewish last name. I can feel it coming, guys. The CEO of Pfizer, Shmurla, Ms. Walensky of the CDC. There's a few other people, guys. I mean, there's tons of people who are ginos, right? Jews in name only, involved in this whole thing. Not just this Gottlieb guy and Shmurla. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens. This is like the rinse-repeat of history. Rinse-repeat of Jewish history, guys. Rinse-repeat. Rinse-repeat. And now we find out, guys, that the epicenter, and I mentioned this before, of this whole, wacky giveaway, Israel. Now we find out that there was a talk between the Israel Ministry of Health and what you would call reputable scientists who did some research, and they had a nice Zoom call back in June 2022, last summer, a few months ago, and they concluded that there's serious issues with this stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, we now know that Prime Minister Netanyahu admitted to Jordan Peterson that he used his entire country as a petri dish. We know that, ladies and gentlemen, we know that unequivocally. Okay? So, guess what, guys? Unfortunately, anybody with the last name that sounds like it's part of the tribe is going to be blamed. Again, even if it's a Jew or Erev Rav, aka Gino. But ladies and gentlemen, we could see how these people are on the run. Mr. Mousy, Dr. Mousy, another guy, Peter Hotez, another Gino, on the run. My friends, I see it all over Twitter and all over the Substack and all over the, what's called the truth sphere. A lot of people who are supporters of Dr. Zelenko, and they know that he's Jewish, he's a real Jew, he was a real Jew, they are blaming us for what's happening. They're using the term Hazar and all this kind of stuff. Guys, I done told ya. Or in the words of the Iranian comic Hood, Ayatollah, but she wouldn't listen. Alright, guys. Pulling up to the house. And what can I say? Be vigilant, guys. Be vigilant. There's more fun ahead. Alright, talk to you soon.